This is almost like therapy. Jesus, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, welcome to another episode of Candy Between Company. I'd like to really thank you to our viewers who are tuning in from home, and a even bigger thank you to the extraordinarily stylish and handsome, if I do say so myself, George Augusto.
What a pleasure to be here.
What a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah,
Thanks
this
for
is
being
what
here.
a great setup, and I'm a fan. So
And I'm a fan
let's
of
do
yours,
this.
George.
Thank you.
And
Appreciate you saying that.
And George is the co-founder and co-creative director of another brand I'm a huge fan of, Staud, a women's fashion brand.
Not co-creative director, but artistic director.
Uh,
Co-founder, artistic director.
Co-founder, artistic director.
Just
Yeah, let's keep it straight. We like to keep it straight here on Candy Between Company. My only actual bone to pick with Staud, because they do what they do so well, is that they don't make any men's clothes.
I know, but do I really want to deal with male models and all that maleness of having a men's line? I don't know.
I don't.
I don't know.
This is embarrassing. The only person
It's Austin, right? Yeah.
the only person that's got a bypass on my phone is my wife, who's also a mutual friend. So please forgive us at home. Please forgive me here. Well, look, I'm not going to hold you to the men's stuff. I understand. It's a whole can of worms.
It's a whole can of worms. Let's just try to get the women's even
Let's get
better.
the women's right, and then let's just...
And then we'll see. We'll do a little side hustle.
And then let's just be fashionable.
Yeah, there you go.
You and I,
Yeah.
which, I mean, you're nailing.
Yeah, thank you.
Always been a fan of your glasses as well.
Thank you very much.
But my understanding is you're also a fan of candy.
Huge fan of candy. It's part of the fabric of my youth in a very real way.
Tell me about that.
I grew up from like around 7 to 17 in a little town in Pennsylvania called Palmyra, Pennsylvania, which is central PA, which is immediately next to Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Hershey, PA.
Yeah, and my stepdad worked at Reese's, which is right next to the Hershey factory. They're kind of all together in the same little area in Hershey, and so Reese's Pieces, all the Hershey company stuff was just how I grew up. It's what I grew up eating. It's crazy.
And you would get
Rolos,
to go to... Rolos are great.
Kit Kat. I mean, just the Reese's Pieces were incredible. When ET came out, that was insane.
Did you have a favorite?
It would vary. I mean, there were even times when whatchamacallits were like my favorite. I remember when that kind of hit. Reese's Pieces probably lasted a while, that being a favorite. I even loved those, remember After Eights? Do you know what that is? They were like these chocolate mint squares.
You know what?
Luxury Hershey product.
I
loved an After Eight.
I have heard of After Eight. I've never had an After Eight.
I wonder if they're still around. Maybe.
Stay tuned.
I don't know.
That's quite a history.
Yeah.
And there's being a Clevelander, I understand that, sort of rural PA was a lot of farmland. Mm-hmm. So that mixture of cows and chocolates must have been quite something.
The air smelled fairly consistently of cow shit and chocolate. That was because of all the, I mean, Palmyra was not pretty much a farm town. But yeah, it was cow shit and chocolate and just wafting through the air.
Now that's a real yin and yang.
Yeah.
That's like a real yin and yang.
Yeah.
So as an adult, do you still get to partake in some candy? I mean, you're fit and svelte and clearly, work out. But...
Yeah, I do love the candy. I love sour. Like I go hard sour. I still love a Sour Patch Kid. I love Starburst. It's true.
Is there a candy that you find just particularly beautiful?
Particularly beautiful.
You're a man of with a great eye.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yeah, you know, a sweet tart.
sweet
You
tart.
isolate a sweet tart by like that palate.
It's very nice.
Really nice. The sweet tart's nice. Also, the enemy of the sweet tart, the big commit, the spree. More of a
Spree.
hard shell, not a soft shell. Also, great palate. A little richer, but still strong.
Hadn't thought about sprees in a while. Really love when they hit the mouth and just sort of they're smooth and they're
Mm-hmm.
nice and
Yeah,
yeah, there was just like a little flying saucer of sugar that just
yeah.
drops in there.
Love a spree, and the packaging was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna bring over here our, which I also think is beautiful, our little hungry
Incredible.
hippo,
Incredible.
because we've talked about candy so
Mm-hmm.
much that I want to get some candy in me. So this is, we got a working title of Fiorucci, but you know, not settled on a name yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if there's anything that strikes you about her, but
Not in the moment, but we have a minute.
yeah,
Let's see what
we'll
the candy
like, sort of feel her out.
inspires.
Yeah. Well, I gotta tell you,
Fiorucci.
when I thought about you, George, and I thought, what candy would George like?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, it's got to be classy and stylish candy.
Okay.
And and there was something that jumped out at me, which happened to be a Reese's.
Coincidentally, because you
Co-
didn't know this,
I had
you did
no
not know
idea.
this story beforehand.
I did not know this story beforehand. Our pre-interviews aren't that thorough yet. Um, they came out with a white Reese's that's a Reese's Thin. So I
Really?
wouldn't say that the normal Reese's, albeit absolutely delicious, is that stylish, but these were like
Thin
clean
Reese's.
and nice and thin and white. And I got it, and I almost grabbed that for today's episode, but I didn't. But to, to sort of let you know how good of a candy intuitive I am. They do still exist. However, it would appear sold to Nestle.
Wow, look at that.
Let's give it a hold.
That's mind blown. I didn't know this was part David Blaine, this show.
It's a previously useless talent of mine
Wow.
that is finding a use here at Candy Between Company. Very elegant package.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't think they fucked with it. Interestingly, so I wonder when, first thing I'm gonna do when I leave here is when did they sell to Nestle?
Maybe it was a trade.
Because it was, you think they bartered for another, they
Yeah,
switched, they
it's like
sent over
maybe they're
some,
like baseball teams or something.
yeah, incredible.
So
Incredible.
what do you think about when you see that package?
I think getting thrown into lockers, I think because this doesn't really evoke it, but that evokes the time. So I'm thinking that time we're talking, mid the 80s. We're talking 80s. We're
Yeah.
talking youth and 80s, high school in the 80s. We're talking guys who listen to Def Leppard just fucking with me every day.
White
We're
Snake.
thinking that was
That
a little
outfit.
later,
Okay.
but yeah, I'm just thinking specifically like early Motley Crue fans just fucking me up. Just that. So that's what this makes me think.
Well,
Yeah,
I hope that diving into the after eights
incredible. Can I have one now, or is it
is a sweeter memory and sweeter for you than those memories. Yeah, let's crack it up. Well,
again?
I just want to say,
I can't believe it. Little envelopes of wonderfully minty chocolate thins.
now that's enticing. When I see that
And look how
packaging,
beautiful
I
that
thought
is.
of like an elegant lady in a red satin dress waiting for me at the top of maybe a marble staircase.
Yeah. That's what the commercial would have been in
Yeah,
87
yeah.
too, for sure. But look at this little
Yeah, it's
protecting
beautiful.
tissue. It's true luxury. I can't, I'm in shock. This is what
Individually
you pulled out of Fiorucci.
Thank you very much. Now, one of the things we do here at Candy Between Company for the audio files is we get a little quiet and give them some candy ASMR. This is going to be tough to do with a single serving package. So I'm just going to a nice crinkle. Elegant, beautiful. I mean, just hit me with your first reviews.
Wait, there's I thought there was a full inscription. It just says after 8 pressed into the rear of them.
After 8 pressed into the rear. I mean, it's a wavy, beautiful wave of chocolate.
There's coconut in here, yeah?
All it said was a minty delight, but I do see on the side that's cocoa bean on the side.
Yeah.
I'm gonna dive right in. A nice texture, a nice bend.
Silky.
Silky smooth. Not as big as what are those round peppermints?
I'm gonna have a second.
Yeah, have a second one. What are the
peppermint patties?
Peppermint patties.
Yeah, no. It's not that intensity. It's a regal sort of experience.
Yeah, it's a regal sort of experience.
Not hitting you in the face.
It's more delicate. It's not. There's no patty involved.
And it's like 8:10 when you're having this.
Yeah.
That's the thing. What do you?
Yeah, the peppermint patties are for the daytime.
Yeah, that's definitely before 8.
I might give the nod to a peppermint patty though.
Overall, if you had to pick,
it's a little. It's more. I mean, I'm a glutton, so it's a little bigger. It's a little more in there, and the like king size, the like big boy peppermint patties, where you're like, it's off a sandwich.
No, this is perfect. Now,
well, you heard it here from George.
A Thin Mint might dethrone. I do love a Thin Mint.
I love a Thin Mint too. When I thought of these, when I saw these, I actually thought of. I'm like, I wonder if they'll be like the Andes mints.
Oh, Andes candy's incredible.
Andes candy's incredible.
Yeah,
it also was. It was
very nostalgic.
Nostalgic, permanently in a bowl at my grandmother's house.
Did you say nostalgic to correct me because I said nostalgic?
No.
Or is that just how you say it?
No, that was just how I said it.
Okay.
We never correct guests here at Candy Between Company. I'm not coming at you. I want you to know.
Making sure.
So all that talk of locker, like being thrown into lockers.
No,
you're on edge with these, both delicious and on edge.
It's so triggering. I probably have not seen a box of After 8 since that era of my life, which was just so specific.
Yeah. I mean, I think
vivid. Palmyra, PA. I mean,
how big a town is Palmyra, PA?
I mean, at that time, it's 30,000 people, something like that, 20,000 people, maybe less than 20,000. I mean, it was really small.
Yeah.
It was like a hick, sort of white trashy town, central PA, Like when Trump won the first time and everybody was like, how did this happen? I was like, come to Palmyra.
Yeah, come to Palmyra. But you don't come to Palmyra.
You don't.
Which is also, why.
The problem.
Yeah, the problem.
But yeah, that kind of town.
And you know what travels all across the country in every little town? Some candy.
Candy. We go to Turkey Hill. That was our local Wawa or 7-Eleven. It was called Turkey Hill.
Great name.
And you just load up. I mean, that's what you did. Drive the Mongoose to the Turkey Hill. Were you a BMX kid?
I was I was not a BMX kid.
That's what a mongoose is. I don't know.
I was wondering what a mongoose was. Thank you for spotting the confusion on my face. I wanted to be a BMX kid. I wanted to be like a skater, but my instincts for self-preservation, I think, and my I was an athletic child, but it just it wasn't for me. You did a lot of BMXing?
I mean, I rode my bike everywhere I went, and it was a BMX, so that was mongooses were big. That brand Redline was another big.
I mean, I had a bike.
BMX
I had a
brand.
bike with some shocks.
Okay.
So I rolled around with that. I just didn't.
You wore a helmet 30 years too early.
I just didn't use the shocks very well. Well, that's some great history. One of the things we do here at Candy Between Company is we like to give our audience members one good fact. And so if they got nothing else out of this, they at least got one good fact.
Okay.
George is getting After 8s just around the clock.
Mm-hmm. Look at that logo.
I mean, it's beautiful.
That iconography is like
It's beautiful,
really good.
and the delicateness of an individual packaging, it's just so classy, you know?
Yeah, I mean the head of a woman, but the face is a clock.
Yeah, yeah. Says you'll see me after 8. Um, so I was going to go with, because, I'm a fruit fan, and Fruits Nature's candy. I was going to go with an interesting fact about bananas and strawberries. But since you mentioned your love of Kit Kats, I've got a little interesting fact about Kit Kats. Are you aware of all these? Have you seen all the flavors that there are now of Kit Kats, particularly Japanese Kit Kats?
I have had a matcha Kit Kat, which is exceptional. I think that's kind of the only alt flavor
Okay.
I had because somebody came back once from Tokyo and was like, "Check this out." I was like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me!"
Yeah, I mean,
It's incredible.
Japan's all the rage, and I've been, I get it. Japan's awesome. Over there, they got a whole bunch of different Kit Kats. I learned that when they were trying to break, they brought Kit Kats over, I presume Hershey, that if they're still owned by Hershey, as we see,
Things
there's
changed. The
things
business is
change.
crazy.
The business is crazy. Shakeups in the candy world all the time. Um,
Mm.
they were having trouble. They were struggling. It wasn't really working.
Okay.
But then they dug a little deeper culturally, and they found out that it is polite Japanese custom for businessmen on a business trip to return to the office with a little something for everybody, just a little gift
Mm-hmm.
from where they came from, and each region in Japan, as the Japanese go very deep and very narrow on things, tends to specialize in a certain little, their pride and joy. And so Kit Kat went around and said, okay, well, I'm not sure which region matcha's from, but like for that region, we will make individually wrapped Kit Kats that are matcha flavored in a big bag,
That's why that
and
happened.
they're at the train station, and so it's like you got to go home to your kid and from a work trip, and you're buying something in the airport because you didn't get something before, but they need something. So it was like it was immediately a quick grab and go, and you could take it back to the office, very uh, reasonable financially to give out to however many coworkers you got, and it took off. It exploded, and so now there's just an incredible variety of Kit Kats in Japan.
Amazing.
Who knew?
Good, authentic marketing right there.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, really, really hit on a gold mine there, and I get it. And the world uh, gets to enjoy a bunch of flavors of Kit Kats now.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'm still not sure anything's better than the original.
I would agree.
Yeah,
What about a peanut butter cup? Reese's peanut butter cup. You love.
tough to beat.
Yeah. Do you know how to tell if it's still fresh and still in
Don't
its
know, don't
prime?
care. I'll eat it any which way.
But,
But yes, tell me. I don't
when you take off the paper, flip it upside down, if there's should be a little ring of oil, tiny slight little. If it's fully dry, it's old. It's past its prime. But if there's a little,
I love a guest that gives me a good fact
mm-hmm,
back.
you're welcome.
Thank you.
You're
I'm going to
welcome.
take that with me.
Yeah.
I am going to get a Reese's. I'm going to flip it over.
You might buy a
I'm gonna.
Reese's just to do it. Now you're actually gonna.
I'm
All right,
100%
I
gonna
need to
buy a
fucking stop
Reese's.
with the after eights. I'm out of
Well,
control.
I would say, if I'm gonna close these to keep you,
Please. Thank you.
because friends help friends
Thank you.
keep control. Um, I mean, do I need to tell you how good they are after you just saw that? Um, Elegant, beautiful, look, smell, taste, before you waste. Um, uh, you know, Good job after 8. Good pickup, Nestle.
Great pickup, Nestle.
Didn't even, why aren't there more of these in more stores? I hope we can help because, bringing back memories. And most importantly, I think hopefully setting a new, fonder memory to help
It's
replace
it's
sort of
recalibrating the
yeah,
relationship I have with After Eight. Now this is,
it's
the signpost of it.
this is the
Yeah,
signpost.
yeah.
Well,
So this is almost like therapy. Jesus.
yeah. Well, what we'd like to do is, you know, a little bit of therapy here with Candy. You know, your therapist might say, "Don't eat your feelings," but here we say,
Well, it just happened.
"Yeah, eat your feelings with me." You know. So George, thank you for coming here and eating some
What an
feelings with me.
unexpected treat. What a perfect little moment we just had with 6 After Eights.
6 After Eights. And
So I
thank you
appreciate it.
also for, this is quite embarrassing, but I'd forgotten about Hershey Park.
Oh,
And
right.
it was one of the best
Yeah.
trips I ever did as an 8-year-old.
Every summer, get that pass, and you just hang at Hershey Park. It was the thing. That arcade was incredible. It was wood roller coasters, and it was a
and
great
little
time.
Hershey's lamp posts along the street.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to Hershey Park. I'm gonna go there.
Yeah.
I wanna relive that.
Yeah.
And shout out to George Augusto. Shout out to Staud. And just thank you again for being here.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. Really, this is completely unexpected.
I hope it's the first of many.
Thank you very much.
And thank you at home for joining us. Want you to remember, it is my deepest hope that you find a little bit of sweetness out there in your day. Have a great day. Bye.
That was great. Wait, come on.
Literally.
No way.
Literally, the two things I had.